who will be asking, is the Portuguese drug policy model enough?
Good morning, everyone. So I'll try to talk a little bit. Well, first, thank you all. It's okay. Thank you for Harm Reduction International. Thank you for giving us this wonderful opportunity to show the point of view of users on the developments on the model. So I don't have a presentation in PowerPoint. I prefer to try to explain our point of view with speaking and words. So this is an opportunity for us to show to other countries and to harm reductionists the point of view of users that since the beginning showed, well, since the beginning we tried to show that the model had a lot of kind of schizoid points. I mean, things like you can possess illicit substances, but they, as a friend was saying, they don't grow on trees and they don't appear by magic, so you have to go and buy it in places where violence gets concentrated. So you still have this schizoid state of being licit and being illicit. Then over time I felt the model was like Schrodinger's cat. When I was outside the country, Portuguese model was brilliant. When I was in the neighborhood and seeing the reality, the daily reality of users, I didn't seem to see great coherence in the model. And even though the model brought this hope to users, to people that wish to have a more progressive policy that puts the people and the person really on the center. So over time, this kind of paradoxes and this kind of schizoid and impossible states grew deeper, and more paradoxes appeared. For instance, in 2008, there's a judge that condemns a person by the crime of using. So how can it be that in the country of criminalization, we have people condemned by the crime of use? And this, since 2008, for instance, the official numbers in 2017 is that 732 people were condemned by the simple crime of use. So the model was losing its consistency, and in 2011, the institute that gave a little bit of coherence to the model, because of the financial crisis, was completely, it was a blind cat on health. So the coherence of the model, as I'm saying, was more and more questionable. So other things we put in question is that the stigma and attitudes towards drug users don't change just because the later the law has changed. So it's not because the law now puts its focus on health that the association to crime and to moral failure and to weakness of character, this kind of deep perceptions that are rooted over time doesn't change because of a law that changes in England. I have to say that still today we find the national strategy a brilliant document. We find that still today we should read it, and it's still a very good document. In that document, they don't demonize the substance. They stop this thing that hard drugs, weak drugs. Um, in the model we already have. So this is 1999. We had already the proposal of a complex approach to these issues, like biopsychosocial approaches. And over time, what we can see is that the clinical approach, the bio, is the only one to have survived to this destruction, that the financial crisis, and that because as we stop pushing the model further, we are getting back, because the world is not stopping just because our governments and our deputies decide that they want to push the model further. We have still on the model the dissuasion commissions. It's one of the pillars. So the model we had before, we had prevention, treatment, reintegration, and the model introduces two more pillars, two operational pillars, that is harm reduction and dissuasion commissions. So each time I reread what is written in the dissuasion commissions, I am reading the treaties, I am reading the prohibition, I am reading the moralist views on users, I am reading the stigma, I am reading the patronizing attitudes and views upon people, and I can't find very well the person on the center, the integrated answers, and these things that we all dream of. So, in our view, the changes on the models should be much more organic, and we can't be waiting for the experiments on Uruguay, on Colorado, and different countries. We shouldn't be waiting for changes that we feel and that we felt in 1999, 2000, 2001 that would be important for the community, for society, for users, their families, their friends, and everyone. So the moment we stopped developing was the moment we condemned in a certain way the Portuguese model. We feel that one good change to introduce would be to change this pillar of dissuasion for a real pillar of the people, a pillar where people, users, representative, different stakeholders could evaluate the service, evaluate if the services are doing what the law proposes. This would oblige the model to be more self-aware. It should bring new reflections to the way we could continue to be ahead on this idea that drugs and illicit substances could and should be regulated and not stay stuck in this. It's brilliant, but it doesn't exist in reality. This kind of paradoxes that are undermining the model. Other thing that we see in the daily life of users is that, all this is not changing the lives of the people that still today live like the 90s. So in quantity, yes, we don't have as many users as we had in 1999, but in terms of intensity and the demanding life of people that are homeless and use drugs, people that didn't die because of drugs and have the problems of aging, people that have mental issues and drug use, lots of situations where in the law we was expecting a real integrated answer, a real person in the center, and we see that this multisectoral approach and the necessary answers that should come most of the times are not appearing. So we really wish that we lived in a better funded country, a rich country that could invest on what on the good ideas the model brings. The harm reduction pillar that everyone says that diminished the infections and all the things that appeared in Portugal. It's the pillar that has been under budgeted for almost 19, 18 years. So civil society has been growing, and its capacity of dialogue with the state has been developing, but we came out of a long dictatorship, and our civil society, I think, it's getting better, but it's not yet a very balanced situation.